I look like a crusty, greasy. So I want to apologize in advance if I look really weird today. Hey guys, it's Kara's Chaos, and this week I'm doing another story time video because that video did super successful and everyone liked that video, and people at school were even like, did that really happen? I really like this video. You should talk more to the camera and just be like you. And I was like, okay, thank you so much for watching. So everyone seemed to like that video, so I was like, okay, my life is pretty interesting sometimes, not all the time, but I do have another story to tell you that happened in the 5th grade. If you aren't subscribed, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to subscribe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you subscribed? So it was a regular day, just me and my friends. Who was there? It was like Kennedy, Arissa, my crew. People were there. I don't know who else was there, but people were there. And we were all playing, and we played basketball for PE. And we were just like, wow, that was actually really fun. We got out of our comfort zone and we played basketball. And we were in the 5th grade, so we were like, okay, this is fun. We'll play it at lunch, because basketball was like super fun. Like that was the funnest game ever. Just like, all right, girls against boys. We're gonna see who's gonna win, and girls gotta win because we run the world, girls. But so we played against the 5th grade boys, and we were just having fun. And then this boy, he took the ball from me, and I was just like, all right, girls have to win this game. So I ran after. I ran and ran and ran, and I tried to take that ball because I was not gonna lose that game. I really wanted to win. I was so passionate about winning. So the ball was just dribbling, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get it. So I reached to get the ball, and his shoe just happened to be untied. So I tripped, and I fell. Now when I fell, I don't exactly remember because I blanked out because I fell so hard, and I hit my head on the floor. So I hit my head on the floor, and I just blanked out. Like, I don't remember the process of falling. I just remember darkness. So I was just like laying on the floor, and I was just like, okay. So I stayed dead for like 30 seconds or so. And I just woke up, I just saw a bunch of heads over me, and I was just like, back up, please. And I'm kidding, I didn't actually say that. In my head, I was just like, what is going on? And then this proctor was like, she just looked at me with so much despite. She was just like, hey. So then I was like, okay. And she said I had a nosebleed. So I was like, nosebleed? This is a fun fact about me. I've never had a nosebleed in my entire life. So I was like, oh, first time having a nosebleed, whatever. My nose is just bleeding. Whatever. We might have lost the game, but it's alright. The game's probably going to be canceled. So I just walked to the nurse's office, and I was just like, and everything felt pretty normal. And then I was just like, I had just blood on my hands, and I was just like, alrighty. So I remember walking through the lunch area, and there was this kid eating his sandwich. And he looked at me, and he was so disgusted where he dropped his sandwich. I remember looking at that kid just like, sorry that I'm ugly. I didn't mean to ruin your appetite. But at the time, I was just like, that's a little rude. He's gonna drop his sandwich just because I look ugly. I'm sorry that happened. But I found out later why the kid did that. But basically, I went to the nurse's office, and she was like, it's not a nosebleed. Your head is bleeding. I was just like, what? My head is bleeding? And then I remember I was like, oh, that's probably why the kid was looking at me crazy, because my hair was down and there was blood dripping from my head. So he was probably just so disgusted from my head dripping blood where he dropped the sandwich. And I was just like, okay, I guess I understand now. But like my head, I just remember like I was just touching it. It was just blood. And I guess I like wiped my head and wiped my face so it looked like a nosebleed. So I had a gash in my head, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have to take you to Kaiser, blah, blah, blah. And I was just sort of crying just because nothing had happened to me, like at the point where I had to go to the hospital like that. So then they called my dad, and my dad had to come from work. Luckily his job wasn't that far. So he was like, oh my gosh. But I remember I had called my friend Kennedy. She had came to the office, and she was like, okay, I'll go get your stuff from the desk. Because at the time we had like this little cubby desk where you like reach in and like it's like a desk but it had like a cubby. So I was like, okay, my phone is in my wallet. Can you go get my phone in my wallet? And she was like, all right, I'll go get all your stuff. So then she ran to the classroom, she grabbed my stuff, and then she handed it to me, and then we left. And my dad had to go back to work, so he dropped me off at home with my babysitter. And we waited for my mom to come home because my babysitter didn't have her car or something. So then she took me to the Kaiser, to the hospital. And then they were like, oh my gosh, your head is bleeding. You're gonna have to get staples. And I was just like, Oh my gosh. I just remember crying just because I was so panicked. I had to get staples in my head. And then they were just like, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I had a gash in my head. And I was just sort of scared just because like this is gonna hurt. And it actually didn't hurt that bad. Like the staples, it was really fast. It was just like, but it did go in my head and it did hurt a little bit, just a tiny bit. And then I had to wear beanies for a long time. I have to wear my hair down because if I were to brush my hair up or do anything, the staples could come out and that wouldn't be a good situation. Yeah? Sorry, that was my mother. We're gonna go to some stories after I film this video. But basically, I had to get staples and it was just all like a shocker just because I had never had anything wrong with me. I had never broken a bone and I was just so scared. I was just crying just because it was so scary. Like, you fell on your head. Your head is bleeding. You have a gash in your head and now everyone's gossiping at you at school saying that you died. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It wasn't as interesting as the other one. It wasn't a lot of thrill to it. But I mean, I do have a lot of stories. I can gather a lot of stories in my life and tell you guys about them. So if you guys want to see more story times, I really like doing them. Then you can go ahead and just let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for, I have 127 subscribers at the time right now. And I just want to thank everyone, say that I'm thankful for everything. And make sure you just check out my social media sites. Give this video a thumbs up, a subscribe. And I think I'm going to make a Musical.ly on this video. You guys want to make a Musical.ly with me? What? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye! Wait, bye! This thing on? Wow, those lenses are really clear.